How's it going? This is Chris Hernandez from Houston Combat Photography, and I'm going to make a real quick video talking about something I've heard a lot of film photographers asking questions about or saying that, oh no, you can't do that. And that's about scanning 4x5 negatives on an Epson V600 scanner. So I use the Epson V600 because primarily it's cheap. I'm on a shoestring budget. I got this one for less than $200 shipped. I bought it used off Facebook Marketplace. And it took me a while before I realized, because it comes with 35mm film holders, comes with 120 film holders. It doesn't come with a 4x5 film holder, and the conventional wisdom is you can't scan 4x5 on it. Well, after having this for like a year, I finally looked it up and realized, oh yes, you can scan 4x5 negatives on it. You just have to do it in 2 halves and stitch them together in Lightroom or Photoshop. I use Lightroom. So a lot of people think it can't be done. Every time I mention that, yeah, I do this, I have photographers saying, oh, how do you do that? I didn't know it was possible. So I'm going to show you it's possible. So first thing, here's the negative I'm going to use today. This is the lovely Ariana Cruz, Links of the Snow on Instagram. It was one of my favorite 4x5 shots. I took it with my 1953 Speed graphic with an Aero Ektar lens on it. And I'm going to walk you through the process of how to scan the 4x5 in 2 halves and then stitch together. So first thing that you do is you take your 4x5 negative and you lay it on the 120 template on the scanner. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So when you open the scanner, this is what you see. Here you've got your 120 medium format film holder, film template, and you leave that right there in place. So you'll notice it's got a B on it. There's a slot there for B. It fits in just like that to make sure that you can't have it in the wrong place. So you take your negative and you put it emulsion side down. So you just know from if you're loading 4x5s that the film notch up here on the right, so you can tell what kind of film you're shooting, that is the emulsion. If that notch is in the top right, then the emulsion side is facing you. So you put the emulsion side down, and I typically scan the top part of the negative first. So I slide it underneath that film holder carefully so I don't scratch up the film. Sorry, I'm doing this with one hand, so it's a little awkward. But I'm using this 120, holder as a template, okay, as a guide, and now I've got the top half there. So I close that and then go to my computer. So you want to go down here to the bottom left, preview. Now it's going to take a minute to preview. Okay, the preview scan is done. The preview scan is just to show you, give you an idea of what your image is going to look like. So there's the top half of my negative. So now you just put in the area you want to scan. I've read different things, seen different things, different photographers saying, oh, you want to have some of the white in there. You don't want to have some of the white in there. I don't know. I just noticed that when I have it in what looks like the right position, the image suddenly becomes brighter and sharper. So once you have selected the area that you want to scan, you go back over here and you hit scan, and that's going to take a minute. Okay, the scan finished. I have it set up to where the scanned images, or the scanned negative, goes to a folder on my desktop. So it goes up to the scans folder on my desktop. Here's the scanned top half. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to move the negative so that I get the bottom half in that same area. And again, this is a little awkward because I'm doing it with one hand. There you go. I've got the bottom part in place. Now I will go back to my scanner. Down here, preview, what I did last time, do not hit preview. If you preview the second half of the image, it could change the light settings, and you have, for whatever reason, you'll have the top half scanned at slightly different settings than the bottom half, and they don't match up. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. So don't preview, just go to scan. Here's an example of when the top half and bottom half don't match up. I didn't know why I did that. I didn't know how to fix it until recently. So just scan the second half. All right, the second scan finished. Now I've got the bottom half. It's pulled up on my scans folder. So now I will go to Lightroom. So I've gone to Lightroom. Here are my two halves of the scan, two halves of the scans of the two halves of the negative. So I click on both of those, click on import, and now it is importing the two files. Okay, they've been imported. Highlight both of them, so click on command. One of them should already be highlighted. Click on command, highlight the second one. Now go up here to photo, go here to photo merge, and then go to, panorama. It gives you three options: spherical, cylindrical, perspective. I always use perspective. That's the one that seems to look the best. Right now it is creating my panorama preview. Let's give that a second. Okay, and here it has created the panorama preview. So I am going to hit over here, merge. And now this third image will pop up in my recent imports. It's doing it. Let's give that a second. Okay, so the image has come through. So let's select it, develop. Should be coming up here in a second. There it is. All right, so I'm going to rotate it right, and then I'm going to flip it horizontally, and there you go. It has been imported into Lightroom. That is my 4x5 negative that has been scanned in two halves from a V600, which people think is impossible to do. All right, guys, so it's just that easy. There are other things you could do. There are phone apps that you can use to scan negatives. Here's an example, an app that I have, which I use just kind of for initial looks at film that I've just developed to see how it looks, but I don't use it for anything end result, because it's just, I don't get good enough results from it. But this, for getting a V600, less than, I say around 200 bucks-ish, getting a used one, and it gives you good images. Here's what this image looks like after I've done all the editing, removed all the dust. So this is a very good option. It does work. It's easy to do. So if you're shooting 4x5 and you're wondering, well, how am I going to scan these negatives? I don't want to pay a whole bunch for a photo lab to scan them. Get a cheap V600, scan it in two halves, import it in Lightroom, edit it, and do it all yourself. It's easy. So until next time, take it easy and go out and shoot some cool pictures.